What's up, everybody? My name is Gummy Worm Jim. Welcome back to Night Call. We're going to see how long my voice can hold out. I believe we're on night 6, maybe? Let's see what tonight is. You open one eye. You slept badly. Sometimes you're so tired you can't seem to get any rest. You'd like to understand how that's even possible. You get up quickly, and a few minutes later, you're outside of your studio. Night 6, that's what it is. Alright, how's the car doing? We need to get gas. So let's go get gas. You feel a yawn moving its way up your body. You stop it from coming out. Cool. You pull over and stop at a gas station. Not a soul in sight. The fluorescent lights irritate your eyes, and the smell of pee is wafting up from the space between the pumps. It's self-service here. You pay directly at the pump. The mini-mart over there, it must sell newspapers. The person behind the counter must see and hear things. Might be worth asking a couple questions. You don't quite know why, but Parisian gas stations are always frightening. You check out your surroundings before getting out of the taxi. Let's just fill up the tank. No need to buy a newspaper. You get into your taxi and drive away. Meet this person if they're still there. Out of nowhere, you hear a voice whispering in your ear. Ah, shit. This hard. There's no noise in the cab. No noise outside. A silhouette appears on the back seat of the cab. Its features appear one by one as if drawn. So much suffering. You squint. A little boy. Would you be so kind as to drive me? Very well. Let us drive then. The boy's silhouette flutters for a moment, then warm and kind. 49 Rue Monge, I think. Come on, get going. I don't want to miss the beginning of the show. Well, yes, the amphitheater show. You don't answer, and are evidently surprised. There's a Roman amphitheater in Paris. Were you not aware of this? An amphitheater? The amphitheater is right in the middle of the Latin Quarter, hidden, discreet. Yet, one night I heard music, and I followed the scent. The streets that evening, as cooks busily worked. I'm not going to say anything. I entered the gate and saw all of Paris before me. For 2,000 years, the spirits of the city have gathered there to reenact the festivities of days gone by. An old poet with the same passage. I'm saying this, but the bear always triumphs over the Christian. Compelling. Your small passenger silhouette begins to fade. The living is their crests. The amphitheater is tied down to the earth like it has roots. It's not going anywhere. Excuse me. Its roots run beneath the city. They touch speed limit markers, houses, cobblestones, Roman baths. He stops. Salty taste in your mouth is making you thirsty. All the way to Rome. I would have liked to go to Rome. He lifts his hand to point to something in the distance. I'll get off there. Before you can make the slightest move, the little ghost disappears in a split second. You stop the cab and take a minute to collect yourself. Lucy Bataz and Emily Prince. Port Malate in the 17th, please. Alright, let's do it. The two women getting in the cab give you their address. They say nothing as you start the car. A faint scent of alcohol hangs in the air. They've been drinking. The younger of the two breaks the silence. So, what do you think? About him? Who else? Of course him, not the bar. Well, I'm not sure. Escapes her. He dumb? Dumb? Dumb as a doornail. All but staring at himself at the bar when he went to get the drinks. But does that matter? No, not really. He's got a good bar. He's got a sort of animal vibe, a little like a panther. I really like that style. You really like that style. Look, the older of the two gives her friend a smile. You know exactly what I mean. They reach the car, the gestures full of tenderness. A moment's silence. What about you? What did you think of him? The young woman gives herself a minute to be too sure of himself, and he spends too much time at the gym. Did you get that bit about... Yeah, please, that innuendo about sexual performance? A short, mocking laugh escapes her. He was pretty heavy-handed with all of his expertise on yoga and orgasms. True, though. Strong pelvic floor muscles can't hurt. Well, anyhow, he was all preachy. He should write a book. The perfect gift for your ex-husband. When the laughter dies down, the younger of the two resumes talking in a more serious tone. Anyhow, like I was saying, she looks at her friend intently. Is it really that important? I mean, we're looking for a donor. Not a father, not a guardian or a godfather. Nothing but a donor. Yeah, donor. She casts a glance in your direction, conscious all of a sudden that they aren't alone in the cab. Yes, but still. If he had been on a date, I think it would have been out there in like 5 minutes flat. I do yoga. I meditate in the ancient art of the serfdom did exist in Tibet before the 1950s. I checked on Wikipedia. I thought Buddhists were supposed to be curious and open-minded. He was like some old conservative dude in the body of a young Brad Pitt. Pause again. But like you were saying, does all that really matter? Her friend nods. The two young women are lost in their respective thoughts. You know, I'm not against that kind of stuff or anything. It's up to him if he wants to be a drag with all that yoga bullshit. I don't have a problem with that. She gives her girlfriend a reassuring look. Anyhow, there's no way any of that is going to be passed on to our daughter. Or our son. Her friend flashes her a big smile. Girl, I can feel it. And yoga, it's not genetic. We'll have to ask Dr. Vidal. Yes, I bet he'd really love that. He'll think we're messing with him. He said we could ask him anything. He's going to take a festival. Pompous doesn't seem convinced and makes an exaggerated pout. So you're saying an ear for music, yes, that's passed on, but pretentiousness isn't? Exactly. Okay, so you don't want to She leans towards you all of a sudden. Sorry to bother you, but did you hear what we were just talking about? Some of it. No need to feel embarrassed or anything. We were talking out loud after all. Her friend lets out a sigh. Come on, leave him alone. I was just asking. My wife and I are meeting donors in order to, conceive a baby. Her partner rolls her eyes. Thank you for finally calling them partners. And we were wondering if you thought pretentiousness could be passed on to children, genetically. You give her a look in the rearview mirror and take a moment to answer. The question is so utterly absurd. Leave him alone, Emily. He's a taxi driver, not a geneticist. Don't get all worked up about it. I'm just asking his opinion. Oh my god. Yes, actually, I would say it's kind of possible. I do know people that don't even know their parents and are very much like them. I myself probably have traits that they are not great traits, personality-wise, like social traits. It's a real thing, as far as I can tell. I'm totally wrong. As a 33-year-old man, I'm saying it right here in this episode of Night. Social traits are passed on from parents. Aha! The taxi driver thinks there's a gene for pretentiousness and that it can be passed on from parent to child. She bursts out laughing. The younger passenger leans forward toward you. Sorry. My partner doesn't mean anything by all that. We've had a bit to drink, and it's the first time. We're meeting donors. You pull up to the client's address and cut the engine. I'll be understanding. The passenger sees kinds of funny stuff. I can imagine. Have you been driving a cab for a long? You avoid her eye. Yeah, you could say that. The passenger pays for the ride. She lets out a sudden guffaw and can't help adding, Come on, Emily, that's enough. As her friend tugs at her arm, Emily starts to mumble to herself. I definitely think we should ask the doctor just in case. We need a second opinion. You wait until the two women have entered the building. 3 voices at once. I mean, that's probably... Voice acting games, man. It's a trip. I think I've given this person a ride. This is a mystery person, and they're right near me, so let's go check them out real quick. See who this is. Hopefully it's not a killer. Xavier Tercy. I need a taxi soon. Is that Xavier, the superhero guy? You pull up next to the sidewalk in a calm, nondescript. The cobblestones gleam calmly underneath the street lamp. A cat jumps from one building to another. Two men are fighting in the shadows. You sit up abruptly. Something is shining in the darkness. One of those Japanese sabers just reflected off a street lamp. You put a hand on the door handle, ready to... The other walks towards your taxi with determination. At the very last minute, just as the door is about to open, you recognize the passenger from before. The one who thinks he's a superhero. We can go. Last time. Voice is calm and poised. Start driving. You put your foot on the accelerator. Behind you in the rearview mirror, you can see in the lights several apartments flick on. The lights in several apartments flick on. Apparently, the fight woke up some of the neighbors. He stops, out of breath. Are you hurt? Yeah, I'm okay. He tenses his muscles. His chest inflates. He catches his breath. In the space of a few seconds, his heartbeat has returned to normal. I'm sorry, but... Another deep breath. I think I shit my pants a little. Hard to say since he has a mask on, but you're pretty sure he's looking you straight in the eyes. But don't you worry. There are no marks. I was just so scared. When he pulled out his katana, man, I was like, that's it. It's over. You had a good life. Now he's gonna cut you up like a turkey. But actually, I handled it. He pauses, nods. You sense him sitting up straight. Handled it. I handled the hell out of it. But what happened? I'm investigating a sort of organization. They're sorting through jewelry, wallets. Sometimes they're sent out to panhandle. Girls are sent to... I mean, you get the gist, right? I think there's something else to it. First off, the kids aren't French. The organization is tied to the Albanians and not so nice right-wing organizations. I want to alert the press. Outside, an ambulance crosses your path. No sirens, no lights. It almost looks like a moving van. And while I was going about my business, that guy jumped me with his katana. Me to death. He pauses for a while. His body is radiating heat. Any hotter and he'd start to smoke. Are you okay? It takes him a moment to respond. I'm okay. I swear. He clears his throat. What I'm about to say will probably sound pretty weird, okay? Another breath. This one is deep and long, almost moving. Since I've been chasing this organization down, I really feel like I'm doing something useful. Like I could... Would it be okay if I just got some shut-eye for the rest of the trip? I think I need to... He falls asleep mid-sentence. You crack your window to let some fresh air. The trip continues in silence, with you at the wheel and the masked hero in the back seat. What if you'd taken martial art classes? What if you'd known how to defend yourself? Maybe that night... You shake your head. There's no point thinking about it. He or she snuck up on you, attacked you from behind. You still have... Well, he always has the same effect on you. One of surprise. I apologize for butchering that name to the people who live there. You're surprised to be reminded of the town next to Paris. Calm, pointless, unremarkable, boring as hell. At long last, you pull up in front of the driveway. You drop your passenger off at last time. He wakes with a start. Already? You grin. Yes, already. I could have slept for about 20 more hours. You glanced at your dashboard. I have an essay to turn in 6 hours from now. Wish me luck. Good luck. Thank you. He sighs and stretches for a while. Something in his neck cracks. Anyway, shower, breakfast, essay, sleep. That's the plan. He pays the fare and rushes into his building a few seconds. Once the coast is clear, you sigh in relief and drive off. God, I don't know why I pick that guy up every time. Doing good on gas, doing decent on time. This person looks like they might be my suspect. Only because of the shape. It looks like one of the people from one of my pictures. Nope. Jackie Elizabeth. Hi, honey. Home, please. Ooh, it's a far trip, but that's okay. The door opens. Your passenger settles in on the back seat. She's a regular. You know her address. Everything okay, honey? All good, Jackie. You've known Jackie for years now. A friend of a friend, and a rather well-liked prostitute in your old neighborhood. That's a sex worker, by the way. Jesus Christ, this game. I hope spring's going to be warmer than last year, because I can't stand freezing my ass off anymore. She's been at Boulogne for 2 years now. Every now and then she treats herself to a ride home in a taxi. This news. You can tell Jackie anything. Almost anything, that is. Is your back better? You smile. It's okay, less painful. She's unconvinced by your lie. You can see it in her eyes. That bastard really did you, didn't he? Can I ask you something, Jackie? She leans forward. Anything you want, honey. You tell her about Lieutenant Bousset, about her threats and your mission. You got screwed again, honey. You're too nice. She sucks her teeth. You and the cops? You're gonna have to go see someone, or start banging one. Jackie. Okay, right, you're the boss. I'll ask around. Some of my clients might know something. A pause. You know what's coming. You're expecting it. But fair's fair. The next ride is free, okay? You nod silently. You meet her eyes in the rearview mirror. Anyhow, you take care of yourself, okay? You give her a smile. You know me. She looks pensive. Yeah, right, I do. That doesn't flow. I already told you how shitty the new law is, huh? You nod yes. Jackie is referring to a law to find sex workers' clients. One of my regulars came back to see me today. Did you know they're going to make them take a class now, too? A class? Yeah, a class. Clients are already paying fines, and now they're being forced to attend or go on process. This client, he didn't like, but he told me they were arrogant, you know, like they were talking down to the government, the politicians. We exist, we're not going away, we pay taxes. Do you realize that? I pay taxes, like you, like everyone else. A pause. Almost everyone is. That is, in this goddamn country today, the richer you are, the less you pay. What a mess. She grows contemplative for a moment. When she speaks again, her voice is gruff. I'm only doing my job, you know. It's great for the young girls who just get started. But for the transvestites, the Uruguayans, the Colombians, there's no way they are going to find work by themselves. And me, it's been too long. There's no way I'm going to be a checkout person in a grocery store. First of all, I'd run into clients all the time. Serious, it's just that it's my job. I choose to do it. That's the great advantage of this line of work. Even you didn't choose. A nod. Your friend answers with a smile. The ride continues for a while in silence. To me, what's really outrageous, they ignore us just like before. They threaten us just like pass the law for money. $1,500 for the first offense, $3,000 the second. A pretty stiff price for a trick. The upshot, we have fewer clients. Makes sense, huh? A funny country we live in. Her voice is tinged with anger. Writes my ass. The only ones who come around now are the regulars, or the basket cases, or the guys who don't know what they're risking. Yeah, particularly the guys who don't know what they're in for. She gives a funny laugh. It sounds like crushed metal. It's good business for the cops at any rate. You just stand there in the alley, you wait for the car to park, you nab the client when he's getting out of the van, and presto, $1,500. You nab 4 or 5 a night, and you're set to go. Funny country, the land of human rights and all that. You check off all the boxes, your boss is happy, you get your bonus. And all this without thought for good old Jackie or her clients. She shrugs. A moment later, you pull into the side street where Jackie lives. The building is in poor repair, the hall lights flickering. You park in the first available space. Always a pleasure, honey. She pays the fare, and with a few crumpled bills and coins. That's all I have. No prob. She smiles. Good night, hon. She gets out of the cab and walks slowly over to the entrance of her building. Ooh, still got plenty of... With this person, they look like they need a ride. Oof. Driver, sir. The 16th endorsement, please. The passenger who's into the cab, perhaps the smooth plastic set of his features, or his odd appearance, a mad assortment of mismatched clothes. Good evening, good day. His shrill intonations are offensive to your ear. Tell me, good fellow, and number 96? As he speaks, you can almost hear the deeper accents of what sounds like a second voice. Sure. You nod slowly and start the car, casting an anxious look in the rearview mirror every so often. I'm sorry to bother you and disturb you, but I was wondering if you'd be willing to answer a few short questions and queries. Why not? Thanks for opening up to me and being open-minded, too. Good day and good evening. Do you think that building roller coasters is a normal thing to do? The question sends you for a loop. It wasn't at all what you were expecting. What? Apologies. Sorry. Perhaps my query and question... No, it's fine. I understand the question. It's just that... Why do you ask? My question... Let's say we try another question. With this guy, who is he? Good day and good evening. Colonize the satellite you call the moon. He pauses momentarily and you try to connect the dots. Not you personally, of course, but you as a species. It's too expensive. It is very expensive, of course, but the potential profits and gains are enormous. His voice has gone up an octave, or perhaps down. It's at once shrill and deep. Just think, just imagine, having breakfast looking down at planet Earth. The beauty of it would make you realize how precious and unique your planet is. Which brings me to my last question and query. Good day and good evening. Why is your individual freedom more important to you than that of your species and community as a whole? You examine your passenger closely. Because we're a selfish species? We always put our own interests first. We're made that way. A pause as your passenger rights his posture with a movement of his shoulders. You are surprisingly honest and frank. I know the people who lived in this city. I could count the number of people willing to make a sacrifice for another person's well-being on a single hand. Suddenly, you're unable to speak, as if the words were trapped inside your throat. Your passenger on the seat behind you gives a dry smile, as if he knew exactly what was going on. Thanks. He stops short. He doesn't actually pronounce your name, but you seem to hear what he's thinking. Sorry, I forgot. You didn't want that information and knowledge to get out. You up to the address he had given you. It was a memorable experience. Adieu. He exits the cab. You are still paralyzed, but you don't panic. Your body seems to know what's best. You can sense your muscles relax. A minute later, your legs has ended. You take a look at the side door window, utterly uneventful, not as swanky as the rest of the 16th arrondissement. Your customer has vanished into thin air. You sit there a moment to leave. Need more passenger. So you can pick that one. Whichever it is, we're going to go get this person. I don't think it's the guy, it's the person underneath that we can't see. Mathieu Vidal. Avenue de Cibelle, in the 14th arrondissement. You pick up your client right outside the entrance of a public hospital. He slips into the back seat and blurts out an address in an upscale neighborhood. Face, eyes. Judging by his clothes, you doubt he's a doctor. But you're well aware that appearances can be deceiving. Your eyes meet, and you give him a smile. He doesn't respond. The ride begins in silence. In the rearview mirror, you notice your passenger's clenched fist, tight mouth, and twitching eyes. Say nothing. You drive in silence, taking an occasional look in the rearview mirror. Your passenger is all... Keep silent. You drive on without saying a word. Your passenger's anger clearly welling up as you near his address. It's probably a good thing you decided not to talk to him. When you turn onto your passenger's street, he says a few words at last. Over there on the left, thank you. His voice is like ice. You park your car. Your passenger here. Keep the change. He exits the car and walks away without closing the door. His foot's car door. You look up at the cushy apartments. The balconies are well maintained, some turned into greenhouses. You notice a few plants, no doubt looking forward to summer. You climb back into the car. Doing great on gas, not so great on time. Dennis Petitjean, plain service, please. Your passenger climbs into the cab and slams the door shut behind him. Good evening. Plain St. Denise, please. He stops short, visibly sizing you up. Do you know where it is? You nod yes. Avenue de Magasins and Giron, so you know the street? Yes, sure. He looks at you intently. You know all the streets of Paris? His question drips with disbelief. You know his kind well, the sort who'd refer to you as the Arab and not bat an eyelid. Yes, I do, monsieur. He seems hesitant. Well then, let's go. You start the cab. Your client stares out the window as if hypnotized. You watch him in the rearview mirror. His face is familiar to you. His accent, too, though you'd never be able to place it. Typical of some rural region, central France, perhaps. You take another look. That's it. You've got it. He was a contestant on one of those reality shows where before you'd watched it from your hospital bed with a distracted eye, but something about it had bothered you. The show was a masquerade, seen from a very Parisian and cynical perspective, full of scorn and contempt. Okay then, you figured out who I am? His remark and his accent bring you back to the present. Sorry? You've recognized me, right? So you can make fun of me now? Make fun of you? He shrugs. Yeah, like all those other people do out there, on that there Tweety thing. Tweety? It takes you a second to realize he's talking about social media, Twitter. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stare. He pauses. You mean you don't know who I am? Answering. Yes, I do. I do, yes. Huh? What? He heaves a long sigh as if letting off steam. His drawl has become more pronounced. At first the show was okay, and then I found out the internet is laughing at me too. There are those things like moms, mams, mims. Oh, memes. You know, those pictures that move all by themselves on the damn internet. Nod politely. So I made myself a Tweety account to go and see what they're saying about me. Calling me a virgin and a Nazi that I screwed to. He looks away as if someone else had spoken the words. They practically die laughing. A farmer who... He doesn't want to finish the sentence. So yesterday I said I'd had it. I called my cousin to keep an eye on my farm, and I left for Paris. On my way to see those TV jokers right now. 6 months ago they said if there was any problem whatsoever, they'd take care of it. It's a problem. His anger has subsided somewhat. His face is returning to its normal color. That's awful. He gives an energetic nod of the head. And believe me, they're gonna listen. I may be just a plain old farmer, but nobody's gonna disrespect me. He squares his shoulders as if to fend off the attacks. Forget it. His eyes half closed, a little air of sadness about him. At first I told him I didn't want to be in there. They showed me pictures of the women. He lowers his eyes and said yes. You pull up on the address he gave you. The studio gates are still closed. You park the cab and cut the engine. Is it closed? You nod yes. It doesn't open until 6. You point at the sign posted near the gates. He sighs. But there'll be hardly anyone here before 9 o'clock. I don't care. I'll wait. He rummages through his pockets and pulls out a wallet. What are you going to ask him? I want them to apologize on TV during the show in front of everyone. To talk about all the things they changed, all the bits of sentences they cut up and put back together. He fixes his gaze on you, his eyes narrow. You know, I'm not racist. His voice is low and raspy. Don't believe the show. I didn't mean what I said, and I didn't really say that stuff either. What exactly did you say? He stops short. Nothing. He avoids your gaze, then all at once says, a lot of nonsense. He fixes his gaze on you, visibly moved. I'm not very good at this. He chokes up, gesturing with his hands as if to make it all disappear. When he starts up again, he's on the verge of tears. Anyhow, I'll just wait here until it opens. The passenger pays the fare and exits the cab minute, and he starts his vigil in front of the gates. You notice a newspaper on the back seat. Your last passenger must have left it behind, or the one before. You grab it and put it away. Could come in handy. You start the cab, and it's back to the grind. Actually, I think it's the end of the night, isn't it? Ain't it time to go home for the night? I think so, yes. You have met Ludwig, the freaking ghost. Emily. They were cool. Emily's kind of rude, but whatever. You met Xavier again. Superhero boy. I don't think my evidence is going to change at all because you wipe your face. You're starting to feel sleepy. Steps in the hallway. They stop. So, still, as far as I can tell, I don't have any new clues. I don't have anything new to go. Wait. Weapon kept in perfect shape by a professional. That also puts this guy over here. It's just this dude. Pretty sure this is the guy, even though the killer's height doesn't match. Defender on the door case. Medical examiner. Escaped Argentina. Public defender. Promising football player. Oh man, I'm thinking it's this one. I'm sussing out this ex-cop, even though he's 10 centimeters too short. Nothing else I can do for right now. The phone rings. You impulsively take a step back. It's the moment of truth. Pick up. Hello? Hi. Ice cold. So? She heaves a long sigh. There's no background noise. Specs are all lined up. All the evidence. A whole mess of your ideas. Remind you, you cannot get this wrong. I have a meeting in 2 hours with the district attorney and the chief of police. Of the room somewhere. Obviously, I'm thrilled. Oh, but I certainly don't want to put too much pressure on you. Oh, man. Okay, so. So, if you were born pre-1976, that would make you an old... This person was a football player. Closer to the height of the actual person. This person is like the actual height right there. Claudia. Medical examiner. Now we know that here. Autopsy report of victim 4. Police report. That only puts this one person. Even though she didn't do it. Like, I feel like this is the person that it would make more sense to accuse. I'm doing it. Say, why, how, the evidence, your sources. She listens without saying a word. You stop talking and catch your breath. Okay. I'll buy it. Seems like a solid choice. I can fish around a bit and vet your information. She pauses. You can almost hear her nodding. I'll call you tonight. Try to get some sleep. Positive note. No, she's probably going to... It might be your last night of freedom. She snickers and hangs up. You put the phone down. You might as well be standing in the ice-cold emptiness of outer space. You decide to go to bed, to sleep. Best way to kill time. With a heavy hand, you wipe your tired face. You slide onto the sofa bed. The events of the day run through your head. The streets, the passengers, their faces, their problems. Your brain is running at full speed. Your body aches and you're in pain. You can tell you need to get more sleep. You glance at your investigation board. You sigh when you think that in just a few hours, it'll all be over. You'll have answers. Busset will have her arrest. Paris will be peaceful again. But what about you? What'll you do? You shake your head and your mind wanders for a second. Your eyes close. Right when you're about to fall asleep, you notice a taste on your tongue. It's very salty, like soy sauce, a tad bitter, very strong. It disappears as quickly as it came. You fall asleep. Did I get the right person? All of the police evidence seemed to point towards someone who was very good with guns and trained a lot. You open one eye. You had a hard night, restless. You get the impression you aged 5 years in a matter of 5 hours. You get up quickly, and a few minutes later, you're outside your studio. Okay, night 7. I'll see you guys for gotten downstairs when you catch sight of Busset. She's leaning up against the door of your cab, eyes wide, open, forehead creased. Get in. You obey. It's too early to react. She settles into the back seat. I missed it. Did I say I got the right guy? No emotion in her voice. She's giving you the facts, nothing more. We're going to bring Fragonard in tonight. She nods. Fragonard is a mentor. Mine, and half the squad's. You can't understand. He's an institution. He's your help. One last time. Later on tonight, we're going to get Fragonard. I cannot say that right. Fragonard? See. She pulls some kind of pen out of her pocket and she puts it in the little cubby just above the car stereo. This is a bug. I've seen and heard you enough to know that you have a trick, a gift for getting people to talk. I need someone I can trust to get close to Fragonard without making him suspicious. He's a cop. He knows how we work. No one's ever sent a taxi driver to make an arrest. He won't put up a fight. I hope he'll open up to you, that he'll confess before things fall apart. Not too far from the hospital where he goes for his treatments, there's an alleyway under construction. There won't be any civilians, just us and him. She sighs. 2 teens walk by the cab and the intense smell of weed fills the cab. Busset doesn't budge. I know you can do it. If you stick to the plan, nothing can go wrong. Understood? She gives you her typical smile, like an owner admiring her dog's performing a perfect trick. I'm off. She lays her hand on the door handle. You pick the suspect up, drive to the meeting point, and you're free. Easy as pie. She gets out of the cab, slams the door, and walks quickly away. Shit. You hit the dashboard. Intense pain spreads through your head. You grab the keys in the ignition and turn. The motor comes on. Your night is about to begin. Your last night. I'm gonna rig it to where we pick up dude somehow. I still have some scat. I'm gonna go see this. At the very least, I want to make sure I see all the sights. You slow down. You feel like you're on the brink of remembering something. Like a word is on the tip of your tongue. But which memory? Which word? You feel something moist moving up your thigh. You dare to glance behind you. Is it him being a hornball again? Is it me being a hornball? He is there. So, bastard, happy to see me again? He reveals a row of pearly whites. Too white. Why I'm not in the driver's seat. It would just be easier for everyone. Another knuckle crack. If I were behind the wheel and you were in the back of my mind. of my conscience. A whole handful of knuckles crack, your shoulders quake. But no, that's not how this works. What do you want? Me? Nothing. You want to get out of the awful deal you made with the bitch of a lady, chauvinistic and weird and homophobic and racist. He makes a whistling with his teeth. You remember the night when the judge... He rolls his eyes. What a stupid name. You remember the night I'm talking about. You nod slowly. Say it. Say you remember. It's important. I remember. You saw his hand. He was wearing gloves. Yes, he was wearing gloves. Rubber gloves with talcum powder on them. I know what you told that bitch. I was there. You remember hand. His hand? The rubber was torn, and you saw something. His voice sounds compressed, compacted, smushed. The last syllable rings in your ears like a scream. You remember the gloved hand. The hall light shining. Wrinkles on his skin. You jump as a car flies right next to the taxi and honks. You'd fallen asleep. After sitting still for a second, you start the car. But the image of that wrinkled hand haunts you. Here we go, guys. Gonna pick up the killer. At least I think he's the killer. Paul-Marie Fragonard. Hospital St. Louis, please. Your next passenger is your suspect, the retired policeman. Hospital St. Louis, please. You nod your head and start the engine. Your passenger seems to have his mind elsewhere, not entirely awake. Stubble on his chin. You scan his skin, his movements, his attitude, his... This makes you jump. You nod. You have more people or not as many when it's cold out like this? Folks tend to stay home when it's too cold. Say nothing. You drive in silence for a second. The road goes by. Trace of the cops yet. Bousset told you not to worry, but... You know, it's funny. Just this morning I was thinking about an old case. One of my first cases, actually. It was just that... You know who Mestrine is, don't you? Or am I really that old? You sense it's the right time to get him to talk. Yeah. Well, there's a story I won't have to tell then. Of course, a few months after his death, and everybody was still talking about it. Public opinion was very divided. Did the cops murder Mestrine, or was it self-defense? I know the answer. They shot him down like a dog. He looks straight at you. You can see a hint of an underground deep in his eyes. Now, I most certainly do not want to die like a dog, understood? He catches his breath and is clearly shaken. Where did Bousset ask you to take me? Oh shit, I just got an achievement called Le Judge. You discovered the judge's identity. I'm gonna say... Tell the truth. A warehouse bush. I'm no Mestrine, you know. I'm not going to pull a grenade out from under the back seat here. He cuts off with a groan. When he starts speaking again, his voice is chilling. Bousset. You can see his finger on the trigger. It's shaking ever so slightly. How much does she know? I don't know. A stench of gunpowder fills the cab. Your vision is blurred for a while. You can't feel your legs anymore, and the shock of heat is streaming down your spine. The taxi slows and ends up running into the car parked along the side of the road. The impact sets its alarm off. Its lights shower the streets with red and yellow. I'm seeing others that you forget to take care of yourself. You want to speak, but no sound comes out. I read your file, you know. What you did for your sister-in-law, taking 7 years in jail for her. He nods his head. You deserve better. Your neck muscles give out and your head collapses. Bits of the door closing. The back seat empty. A shape coming over the cab, screaming, shouting. And just like that, darkness. Did we just die? Dude! That was a long time to die. I guess this is just gonna be one episode, but there it is, you guys. There's our finale of The Judge. I fucked it. I shouldn't have told him that Busey was waiting for us. I should have tried to play dumb or something. Either way, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Night Call. I hope you've enjoyed this chapter. Leave a like. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to see more of this kind of content. There's more chapters of this game that I would love to play. But it is kind of hard on the windpipe. It definitely it's a lot of talking. So let me know, y'all, if I should do it, if I shouldn't do it. Bye.